So Sean's talking about some of those particular issues about young people and trying to stimulate the economy. The Chancellor is also expected to announce that stamp duty holiday on properties up to the value of £500,000 to try and help restart the housing market.
Yeah, currently homeowners in England and Northern Ireland pay stamp duty when they buy land or property for £125,000. The amount you pay depends on the price of the property.
For people who have bought a home before, stamp duty rates are 2% on properties above £125,000 and up to the value of £250,000. Then it's 5% until you get up to £925,000.
It is 10% up to £1.5 million and 12% on any value above that.
The rates are different for first-time buyers who are exempt up to the value of £300,000. I hope you're following all these figures. And only pay 5% on any portion between £300,000 and £500,000.
Now, if the Chancellor does introduce a stamp duty holiday today, someone spending £248,000, the average cost of a house in the UK, would save £2,460. I said it was all about the numbers, but the numbers on this story are really important.
Exactly, yeah. So let's talk about some of those changes with estate agent Robert Reid, who joins us from Hertford in Cheshire this morning. I'm sure it's a question you get asked lots about, what's the stamp duty on this property or that property? How do you think this will affect the housing market?
OK, well, I think in general terms, the principle of a stamp duty holiday would be a very positive change, no doubt about it. We've already had customers phoning up this week, talking about it, asking about it, potential future buyers. So it definitely would make a significant stabilising and positive effect on the market. The only caveat to that is that I think we would need to see it happen immediately. I think if there's any sense of delay, that would be very disastrous. If, for example, if they did it till October, then clearly people would hold off until October to do transactions. So if this was to be an immediate change, we would absolutely welcome it, and I think it would have quite a dynamic effect on the market. Certainly, when you look back at previous times when there has been reform to stamp duty in this kind of way, it has made a really positive difference. So certainly welcome it, but we'd love to see it happen, sooner rather than later. What
has the year been like for the sort of housing market? Because I seem to remember reporting right back at the start of the year that 2020 actually started quite brightly, didn't it?
That's right. I mean, it's been a real rollercoaster for the housing market. If we just give a quick kind of look back, so if you take the sort of last six months of 2019, so July to December, it was quite difficult. All the Brexit kind of uncertainty and the parliamentary gridlock. But we had a general election, regardless of what your politics is, it certainly had a positive effect on the market. And in the first 2 months of the year, January, February, it was good. We were putting houses on, the prices being achieved were good, transaction levels were increasing. It felt really good, felt like we were going to have a good year. Then, of course, we had lockdown, and quite literally nothing happened in lockdown. We couldn't do viewings, we couldn't do valuations, no new stock came to the market, so it completely froze. So it's been a real highs and lows. That was the real high at the start of the year. The low, of course, was the lockdown, and now we're in the recovery phase, which has been certainly very encouraging so far, but it needs to be sustainable. And I think what the stamp duty change will have is to help sustain what's been quite an encouraging return from the lockdown. But I certainly think it has been a roller coaster. I suspect it may yet be a roller coaster, but support of government and support of lenders being sensible as well, I do think will make a really important difference.
Obviously, we're speculating as to what will happen, but most people seem to be assuming that there'll be that stamp duty holiday announced, and it won't be delayed until the autumn, but it will come in now. If that was to happen, would you expect a flurry of activity straight away?
Yes, I think if you look back actually to 2014, which is actually forgotten about, George Osborne reformed stamp duty then when he actually moved it from a system where it was on the full amount of the property price to a more graduated system. And it was an instant change in stamp duty. I remember the next day after that, we instantly saw a kick in the market. And I do believe if the changes that are anticipated and discussed happen, I believe it will be a kind of quick impact. I think what it will do, it will give people the confidence to do things. So, for example, the couple that you were talking to a moment ago, I think it was Patrick and Rosa, they were talking about having to put 15% into their mortgage rather than 10%. Well, that's quite a lot of extra money, and that stamp duty kind of a holiday, if you like, that cancellation of the stamp duty could well allow people like that to put that extra in the mortgage and get the deal done. You might be thinking, shall I sell this year? Shall I not sell this year? Is the right time now? again, with, I think, this cut, people might think, yes, you know what, we're going to do it. It seems like a good moment. We're going to have a go. And then, of course, you get the multiplier effect beyond that. So, for example, if you do actually buy a house, you then, of course, may upgrade it. You may change the kitchen, the bathroom, redecorate it. You may invest in the property. And, of course, that puts money into the economy as well. So I think the consequences would be a short-term impact, which would be really positive. But I do hope and believe that it would have a much wider kind of multiplier effect, if you like, in the economy in what is an unusual time.
Yeah, just to go back to those figures we were looking at, I think it was a saving of just over £2,500 on a house of about £240,000, and that's the difference, isn't it, between having your solicitor's fees covered and maybe your removal costs as well, which can make the difference to making a decision.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. And also, I think what it will do, it will catch some people that maybe, in fact, for the moment, are maybe slightly caught. So, for example, there are good exemptions for first-time buyers at the moment, which, of course, is great. But if, for example, you have a house that's worth £175,000 and you want to move to one at, say, £275,000, so you wouldn't be a first-time buyer in that situation, at the moment you would have to pay that extra amount down. And as you rightly say, that is quite a significant amount of money when you consider all the costs of moving. And of course, the further up the pricing point you go, of course, the greater that saving is. So I think it really is quite significant. And there are a lot of numbers in stamp duty, and there are a lot of complicated formulas. It's quite a challenge to work it out on the spot sometimes, but make no doubt about it, these are significant amounts of money to a lot of people, which could well make the difference between moving or not moving. And clearly, if they do, I do believe it would be to the benefit of all, really.
Robert Reid, thank you for joining us this morning. I think that advice is probably very helpful to people who are watching today, waiting to see what the Chancellor says, and interested to know about the potential purchase of a house that might go through in the next few weeks or months for them.
Yeah, it's a big day for Rishi Sunak, isn't it?
Yes.